Friday's Inanna, Ashira, Ishtar, Ninurta, Isis. Like I could go bad on certain linguistic structures. All their names all mean the same goddess. Statue of Liberty, as we talked about, is Friday, right? And this goddess is a goddess of abundance, love, and war. Now, how did those two come together? Well, where you yin, where you yang. If you love, then you war. Some people don't get that. They're like, no, brother, I don't feel that. Feeling half of yourself. You don't realize when you truly love something and someone wants to take it away from you, what you go to next. You go to war. By all means, by this allegiance, I'm about to slam you with 50 pentagrams of power, which is quite a bit. That's like kilotons. Like we said, tetragrammatons of power, right? In that allegiance. If something is against this. Okay, so that's what you have to see as a subset, because they're only pretenders. They're just trying to pretend what they understand that these ancient laws are really about with these entities. So when this goddess, if you may, she's a daughter, a princess, if you may, because that's getting you away from realizing that this is not the mother you're dealing with or the grandmother that you're dealing with. You're dealing with a young upstart, a goddess who did not have a name. Back in the times of our ancestors, you needed to make a name. You need to make your vibration, you need to make your frequency, and you need to be that. And that's how you came up. And if you did not have that, then no one knew you in the stars. So this particular goddess rolls her way all the way up through the stars with every single form and fashion and craft that she learned. And she started from the bottom. So that's why it does have a lot to do with witchcraft. It does have a lot to do with commanding demons. The space that she was from initially, as she made her ascent all the way to the King of Heaven, got him drunk symbolically off of the essence and the fumes and the beauty, and stole the name. And which was the child. In the beginning was the Word was God, the Word was with God. It is a child. The children are gods. So she took the name and she was with child. And I have this whole story in the meditation inside of Ambassador Training. I will be releasing those soon, as we're working now on enealogy. She was with child, and then when she left the child, it's like the movie, what was that? Was that Snow White? Who was the chick that she basically, I know, okay, that's not that movie. But anyway, she's the one that after 12 o'clock lost the slippers. She was all there dancing. The prince was loving her. They kissed. And then after 12 o'clock, the magic ran out, and then she was out of there. Well, that story is being taken from an ancient story about Inanna actually getting into the bedroom of the king, getting pregnant with the child, and then taking that child and going back to the lower world to have that child, because that was how one would fortify dominion. If you are with child from the king, and I'm only giving you a story that you understand in English. If you have a child from the sun and you go to the lower kingdoms, now this son is eventually going to be king. And that's actually the messianic story. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm bringing all this to you, because I want you to realize that this is not just as on the surface as these elements that you see here only, even though they do hold all the power, the copper, right? And these colors, this is all about the essence, the rose, as in Rosicrucians. This was what all this about. The copal that the Mayans were burning. This is the pentagram of Mayans. This is the energy. This is the semen. This is the reproductive systems. This is the cheek, the eyes. You know, all of that is corresponding to this. But it's most important also to understand the subset, because again, many of us are constantly, but we are really everything. And also is that we're not trying to tunnel you into one particular personality, but you need a foothold. You need to know what the cosmos designated you as, so you can calibrate your synchronicities and things, and then you can move on to other paths. So the Allegiant, as we know her as, in this path is here, and there's overviews of the characteristics with this path. And I'm only using this today really briefly, and I'm almost done here, to actually highlight, because you'll have to go here and read this yourself if you're interested. to highlight that this is a path that is a dedicated path. Okay, many people are also ruled by Venus. Their zodiac signs are ruled by Venus. So this does apply to your subset also. There's deep knowledge in genealogy. And what happened is that, and also everybody has a portion inside of this. There's a chakra, a heart center. There's a place for all of this inside the body. So it's also directly tied into your immune system, because your immune system is responsible for basically fighting off germs. So who better to fight off a germ than one who knows all the germs, one who has already figured out how to cleanse because they're carrying the sun, one that all of those things have been gained. So remember, though, the ascent of an entity or a god, if you may, is the ascent of yourself, but it's the same story as you. It goes on in a process. So it's in the universe, all the lessons is this, and the stages in which these things reach inside of you. So if you're in the betrayed stage of Inanna's ascent, because that also happened in the story when she proclaimed to the kingdom that she had the child of the king, the queens were like, oh no, this is not coming out. She cannot, And they worked in their covens with powers to thwart that son coming to birth. And those are the wars of Horus and Set. All of those scriptures that talk about elder gods fighting with the younger god to keep him down or her down. In fact, also remember words like Yeshua. Anytime you put "al" on the back of something, it does feminize it. Okay, so this real messiahship seems to be more of a female than it is a male. I know that's a head crack, but turn it all 180 degrees back upright, because evil is turned up good 180 degrees upside down. That's an upside down pentagram. You turn it again 180 degrees, now it is upright and it stands to the mystery, so that the Messiah was really a female. So Venus, that's why you still see in the societies today, that was more of the Messiah kind of role, coming from the bottom and then going all the way to the top, right? Working your way through the top. And then the zigzag of the Sephiroth, which is all these different things. This is a story of the in-depth story of woman. Like they say, even the prostitution, the abuse, the betrayal, the love, the beauty, the pain, the fears, all of those things are all embodied into this, okay? So what I'm telling you now then is that how you work on healing yourself and you work on actually getting yourself stronger in this space is you come to realize these stories and how they play out inside of you. And then what you have the opportunity to do is you have the opportunity to say, okay, yes, I've been through this kind of situation in my life. And because of that, that has made me a bit imbalanced. It has made me, as far as on an immune level, weak. Because see, your subconscious mind is controlling everything. Your subconscious mind is the one saying, hey, you have a cut on your finger, it needs to be healed, and sending in the proper things to heal it. So if your subconscious mind also knows that it's taken some damage because what it pledged its allegiance to, what it thought was going to save it from everything, now ends up leaving it with child, now those burdens ensue. And if the demonic aspects start coming into the consciousness again, meaning like, well, let's go get magic, let's go let's go do dark magic, let's by any means less necessary, let's pick up these guns which is El and Saturn, let's go and rob somebody for these talismans, which are dead presidents, which is necromancy, right? And then you get caught up in that vibration. Remember, we are holding space, and whatever space you're holding is the space that you are in. And more, it will try to infringe on your territory as your war is lost because your goddess is bound. Meaning that when you don't let the energy free, which is the current, doll R, the doll, when you don't let it free and when you don't plant it properly, what ends up happening is that it becomes locked down. This actually gets us into tomorrow, which is Saturn, because Saturn is the ruler responsible for locking it down. And the most negative aspects of Saturn is actually a pimp. That's why the most negative aspects or distorted aspects of Venus is actually a prostitute. And all the way up to whatever you can think. That is the whole ladder and spectrum of the path. So you have to decide then, what path did you walk? What was the end up story? Did your son end up becoming now the ruler? And did he rule justly better than the unjust king? Because we always can improve things. Or did you get totally betrayed, taken in a taxi cab back to the lower realm, and then now check the cab back into the lower realm, back into duality, and now it is you got to get it how you live again. As if that's going to work, as if that's going to produce any different results than what you already see if you're doing that, or if you've done that before. So this is the type of wisdom that actually changes things, because it dials right directly into where you're at. And also it lets you know, this is not foreign. This is not exclusive to you. This has happened to every person in every shape, form, and fashion of their vibration. So with that, and graduating with that, you realize now, let's bring that energy in front of us. If we felt betrayed, we felt damaged, we came all the way from the bottom of this to get to another stage. The stage we found out is being blocked. We got haters all over the place, but we refuse to lose. We have the name, and that's all you really need. You have the power, ineffable essence of yourself. You know the wisdom of vibration and frequencies, which is that of the Magi. You know the stars within, which is that of the Essenes. And now you got to put all that into play in 2020. And it is as simple as going through these different subsets in the consciousness, these paths, these powers, seeing how they've been debilitated, because that is a big thing in the earth, is to actually debilitate human beings, to remove their powers, to take out their stingers. And so what happens is that you need to reestablish these components and the ownership of these components to heal yourself. And that's what this is about. Hygeia, heal yourself. Hygiene, heal yourself. If you clean in the external space, this helps clean out the corners, light up some incense, run some stuff out of the space. Set up, set space, set your guardian, set your gates, right? Strengthen your gates, right? And then all that's done through these different levels. And then now also see this story and realize that this story is yours. Bringing yourself into the presence is going to allow you to take yourself to the next level.